Alrighty, welcome everybody. I played the Pi Day tournament today, and not only did I play it, but I also was the assistant TD, so I got a little more hands-on experience with that, which is cool. There were two sections, the Open and the U1800. I was going to do a whole rant here, but basically I'm right in that middle spot where everybody better than me plays the Open, and everyone worse than me plays the U1800. So like if I want to challenge myself, I play up. If I don't want to challenge myself, I play down. I suffered that devastating, awful loss on Tuesday. The worst loss I've ever had. Just absolute terrible game by my parts. And honestly, I needed a bit of a confidence booster, so I entered the U1800. In any event, my first round opponent... Oh, and by the way, normally in these four-round opponent tournaments, I take a bye. But because, A, I wanted to get justice back from my Tuesday, but also, B, I was TDing, and I had to be there all day anyway, I played all four. Needless to say, I am quite exhausted. 4 classical games a day is a lot. Nonetheless, I drew Luke Ferrara, round 1. Luke has a 15-15 rating, and I started with a Jobava, d4. He played c6, which is unusual. He says he's a Caro Kann player, so he just plays c6 even against d4. And I know some transposition lines, but I don't actually know necessarily what to do against this in general. Because he basically played like he's playing, the Caro Kann. I've played this Chigorin before, where basically a lot of times you kind of transpose when they end up playing knight f6. But there's a few subtleties. Again, I don't know the Java well enough to know, but nonetheless, oh yeah, I'll turn off the engine for now. This is what happened at first. So these are the first 3 moves the Java kind of play themselves. And then Luke played bishop f5. And I know that the deviation here, rather than playing an early e3, you actually start with f3, and the idea is you chase away the bishop, and you get a lot of kingside attack. So that's exactly what happened. He plays knight f6 now anyway, which this is a position I've studied quite a lot. So for me, all these moves are booked. By the way, I have the times because now I'm using the Mike Brown score sheet, so I know how much time is left. Oh, and the time control for these games are 60 minutes plus 5, so they're a little bit faster than the typical Tuesday. Nonetheless, not much to say. G4, I'm basically expanding, gaining territory, forcing him back, and then I hit him with a H4. The idea is to play H4, H5. They have 2 moves in this spot, either H6 or H5, or they lose the game. He decided to play H5, and against that, you do not take, because then they take back here. Instead, you push your pawn forward with G5, and you force them back. And this is a typical position that I've gotten to many times in Blitz, and I know White is thinly better. And it's just an opening position that I've studied, and I know the ideas from here. Yeah, plus 0.4, which is a good opening advantage. I mean, let's be honest. This is kind of what I signed up for. If I can get a Jobava like this all the time, then I'll probably be pretty happy. All right. So nonetheless, I will turn off the engine in a second. Let me just find where I am. All right, move 8. I had used 4 minutes at this point. I'm actually surprised I've used that much. Why? What was I thinking so long? And it looks like Luke has used 2 minutes. So Luke is banging out the opening, which is surprising because I don't think he knew it that well. I always am confused when people do this. The best move in this position... Actually, I think I did play the best move in this position. Hold on. Did I play the best move in the position? Because I know I've looked at this position online. It's e4 right away. Son of a bitch! No, it is queen d2. All right, I played queen d2. Okay, the reason why I spent, 4 minutes in this position is so I basically banged out instantly up until this point, then I used 4 minutes, is because I know that queen d2, e3, and e4 are all the ideas here, and I couldn't remember what the best move is. They're all pretty good. So I went with queen d2, and I'm pretty sure you want to play e4 in one go. That's kind of the gist, but I'm always going to want a queenside castle. All right, whatever. He plays e6. This is the pawn chain. His bishop's on the outside, looking in. But it's not really a problem. All right. I now, that means I queenside castle. And he plays queen a5. And around here, I was a little bit nervous. Because, he's kind of bang-a-ranging on down. There's maybe some mate threats. I really wasn't expecting queen a5. For the record, I kept expecting queen b6, which is more typical. I don't know why I didn't even consider queen a5. I'm sure it's a fine move, but but I don't know. So I went into a little tank. I spent another couple minutes, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure the idea for the position is playing e4 in one go, opening it up while his king is in the middle of the board, and then like these pieces will play themselves. So I just go for it. I feel like this is the right move. You know, like let's expand e4 in your face, and I felt fine. You know, like that's just what I'm supposed to do. That's just how the cookie crumbles. He plays bishop e4, so he has like a super pin. It's worth noting that if he like takes, I might lose a pawn. Takes, and then he's hitting this rook. And so I had to spend more time in this position. In fact, 7 minutes. No, I didn't play 7 minutes in this position. This one I thought was pretty clear. Here I played bishop d3. The idea is pretty clear. You know, I could trade. We can trade. I can mess up his pawns. Blah 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 blah. If he takes, I'm defending this pawn still. I thought if he takes, I would go queen takes, and if he plays queen takes a2, I didn't think that was good. For the record, he plays c5 here, but I'm actually kind of curious about this line. Takes. I thought his queen would get out of play, and I have this escape square because I basically opened myself up for my queen. I'm just kind of curious about my instincts. I wasn't afraid. Yeah, okay, cool. I wasn't afraid of this at all, and for good reason. It looks like the computer says white is like winning, plus 1.5. So I didn't actually think that pawn was hanging. Yeah, and the reason why is obviously you run with the king, you play king d2, which is what I was going to do. And it looks funky, you know, funky monkey, but actually it's jolly golly. I'm making up expressions, but I'm sure they're fine. Anyway, that was, believe it or not, that was actually my plan, to play king d2 here, and I thought that his king was out of play, and I actually would be able to utilize this file. So, cool. That's makes me feel good. All right. Nonetheless, he plays c5, and this is where I did a 7-minute think, because I kind of thought, like, maybe I'd messed up the opening somehow, because c4 is coming, right? Like, he's trying to lock this in, and this is where I thought, like, my candidate moves, I looked at takes, and I looked at a3, and I didn't look at knight e2, because I thought then this gets slammed down, but I may have looked at knight h3 as well. So, needless to say, I looked at a lot of moves. Here, I'm going to just show, I did play a3 after 7 minutes, because I thought it was the safest option. I thought that, like, this can't be bad for me, and that does kind of consolidate. But, for the record, I looked at takes, and I didn't like this move, d4 here. So I thought that this was, like, a big problem for me. I'm actually kind of curious. Yeah, it's just lost, d4. So that's why I eliminated that one. Okay, cool. So that's minus 2.5. So I didn't play that. I looked at takes here, and I thought he still has... I thought it would go... He would take, but then I thought that I had something here. I think I was going to play pawn takes. Yeah, and the idea is if he goes takes, like, I think I was fine, because I have this move with check. So I thought that this position was good for me, but I'm not sure. Yes, this position is good for me. In fact, it's like +1. Okay, so I did like this line. And then I looked at this move, knight h3. But I got a little bit leery about c4, and I thought I was going to drop my my bishop, and I was worried because now he can trade, and I wasn't sure how to evaluate this position here, to be completely honest, but I didn't love it. Apparently it's +0.2, +0.3, so it's not even bad for white. Okay, interesting. And they actually like g6, which is nuts. You actually just sack a rook. Wow. In fact, he's supposed to go back and take it. Or, I mean, in this position, I obviously would play rook he1. I mean, that's like the obvious move. His king's in the center. You win a tempo on the bishop. And actually, this is decent for white. Okay, cool. So I'm kind of curious. The move I did play, a3, how does the computer evaluate? Computer doesn't think it's the best move. E takes d5 was correct. This move. Okay. But white's still retaining a bit of an advantage, so, you know, it is what it is. I'm actually kind of curious as far as what the computer says. All right, I played... You know, I hate when they do this. My move was the second best move. I didn't consider this move, bishop d6, but maybe I should have, because then I'm escaping the c4 lock-ins, and I'm kind of like roughing over there. All right, I ordered food because me and the missus, we're gonna go out, but 4 games, I'm exhausted, so I know my treat today. We're getting Thai food. Gotta love Thai food. All right, so maybe that actually makes sense because I'm always threatening to just like trade it off, takes. But I thought that he kind of has a bad night where it's difficult to get into the game, so I didn't like that. All right, whatever. I'm just explaining, my longer thinks. 7 minutes. Boom, A3. He now goes in the line with bishop takes on C3. I play queen takes. I thought even here, I thought that maybe he had an intermezzo. Maybe he doesn't, but I thought pawn takes was a move. Yeah, it looks like pawn takes is good too. D takes E. Yeah, I thought that was a reasonable choice, actually. In fact, C4 here is his best move, because takes something like that. All right, whatever. Chess is pretty complicated. Whatever. He moved instantly. Luke's big issue is that he played very, very fast. Actually, we talked after the game. He has like a very high bullet rating online, and so he plays a lot of bullet. But he plays classical like bullet. Like he played 15 moves in 8 minutes. So and I actually know this opening, and I spent twice as long as him. Very unusual for me to be up on the clock that much. I'm just saying. I think that these trades were not obvious, and he just like zipped and pipped them. Whenever I say all this stuff, it's not like a criticism of my opponents. It's more so dry observation. All right, whatever. He then we ended up doing all these trades. He went queen takes. I went b takes c3, and then he followed it up with c4. And like honestly, when we arrived in this position, I was like, this is not what I wanted. He hasn't castled yet, but I don't have a queen, so I don't know how much I'm like threatening in the middle of the board. He's winning tempo. Maybe I should drop it back to f1, but I wanted to be able to connect my rook, so I thought it made more sense to go to e2, which is what I played pretty quickly. I thought maybe there are a lot of lines where I'd like step up and basically use the b file, because like the h file is pretty locked up. I didn't think that him taking was an issue, because I calculated takes, not so much takes right away, but I thought I could always take on c4. And if he ever then takes again, I always can then just play knight takes f3 with the idea of rook h to f1, and then I'm opening up on my f file, which would be open those lines. Hopefully you guys followed along to that. I know some of you are very strong chess players, others of you suck, but hopefully you guys were able to see what I was just talking about. All right, bishop e2, now he castles, and I thought in this position that I thought I kind of messed up. I know the opening pretty well, but I wasn't thrilled. Again, I considered my candidate moves were king d2, takes, and then the move I played, which was knight h3. My idea was actually to trade off and then position the knight on f4, threatening both the h pawn, but more importantly the bishop, softening up this kind of structure, for tactics 101. Yeah, I don't know. This looked decent. I'm actually just kind of curious. Again, this is my new format, turning the engine on intermittently rather than kind of doing it all along. All right, the computer does like knight h3. I did play a good move, but they do like e takes better. I thought, honestly, okay, and then they still like this bishop d6. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think that accomplished much because I thought he just positions his rook to a more active square, to be completely honest. So yeah, I don't know. But all right, just so you guys can see what the computer is telling, I thought in this line takes. This is just good for him, because his idea is swing the rook over, but apparently that's good. So whatever. But I played the knight out. This made more sense to me. He goes ahead and plays takes on e4. T takes on e4. I didn't think takes was right, but I did consider that because then I have the file. And here I think I made a mistake. I play bishop takes on c4 first. And the reason this is a mistake is he plays rook c8 and he's going to win another pawn. And I went from, I thought I had some dynamic play, to, oh boy, I made a little bit of a faux pas. Whoopsie. I've used 15 minutes. He's used, about 8. He was playing very confidently, and I realized I kind of made a mistake. And, it's not great when you make mistakes. I thought only move bishop b3. I'm trying to zero in, kind of lock down and rock down. he plays rook takes, and I thought that I do a mini calculation, and what I saw is takes move here. I'm threatening the fork because then I have this. I thought that he would respond to it. I'd win a pawn back, and like maybe I can then play in the center of the board. And I thought that this position was okay for me. In fact, this is pretty much what happens. We go bishop takes on b8, rook takes on b8, and then I play knight f4. And like my threat's pretty clear. If I win his bishop, then he takes with the pawn, and then I take this with check, and he loses his piece. It's like tactics, you know? I thought this was really good, actually. Like, I thought that I was dynamic. It looks like black is a little bit better. Like, I did mess up a little bit, but I thought he was giving me a pawn back, and I'm getting play in the middle of the board. So I didn't think I was, like, lost or anything like that. I thought this was, like, a very reasonable chess position. You know, it's getting a little bit more complicated, and I think I'm actually, even though I don't like complicated positions, I think I actually have been playing them better than my opponents, for the record. Word to the wise, I came to drop bombs. Maybe I should be playing more complicated positions. Anyway, knight f4. And wouldn't you know it? And again, yeah, his best move is just bishop f5, just giving the pawn, for the record. I think I would have taken, he would have then moved again. I would have just moved my rook into the middle of the board. I have all this like pressure. I even have some tactics, you know, like takes to win another pawn back. And I thought I was honestly doing totally fine here. Like I didn't think I was better. I thought I did mess up a little bit, but I was fine. However, my opponent blunders here. He plays rook b to c8, which looks natural. Like gunning, he said like, oh, like look at that, I'm like gonna win this this piece. You know, like lo and behold. But I think I play very strong here. I'm very proud of myself here. I play knight takes on g6, of course. The idea, I mean, he took, but if he doesn't take, if he takes here, I then saw this fork, and this is just, the game's over. I just win, you know? This is it. This position's lost. It's completely over. Yeah, it's +3. It's almost +4. So I saw this. So that's why he can't actually take the bishop. So I did calculate this, which makes me feel good. I think I was like reasonably sharp. So he takes, and then boom, I take with check on e6, and yeah, he moves up, and then I win his piece. And like, game's over. I'm like gonna win. And like sometimes it's that easy. I played like somewhat complicated. I presented a tactic. He kind of blundered. He missed it, and that's game one. We'll play out the moves because like there was one spot where actually he made it kind of tricky. But yeah, this was kind of game one. He had spent 15 minutes up to this point. I had spent 25. So I was using a bit more time than him, but I still had, you know, plenty. Where are we? Bishop takes on d7. Oh yeah. So in this position, he played rook takes on c2. I played king b1. And he played rook c to 8 to 7, which is funny because I look at this and I think I'm playing like really well. He's not actually threatening to take this because then I win his king. So I say okay, and I just take. F takes on e4. I know this is the best move. And again, if he takes, I take. And now I have like the center pawns that are connected. His 3 against 2 are completely locked in. I am 100% winning. And I was like, sometimes, you know, conversions can be tricky. But yeah, this is a +4 position. Like I was not concerned about this one. You know, there are some times when you're like nervous about a game and you're like, oh dear, am I going to be able to do it? This was not one of them. This one I was like, okay, this one's in the bag. You know, not to put it lightly, but like that's just, you know, the way chess is sometimes. All right, he plays rook e2. He's trying to go after this pawn, you know, which is like fine. It's his right, you know. He's allowed to do that. Oh baby, our food's gonna be here soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, he plays rook h to f1. Nope, I do. Oh yeah, and then in this spot, I was trying to calculate whether it's more accurate to do the check or to drop back, or even to go play here. To hit the bish. I wasn't sure. Oh, babe, it's here. Do you mind getting it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm going to cut this recap short soon. because it's dinner time. It's only been 20 minutes, which is great. But so let me just, I mean, as you guys can tell, like this was my first game. I was pretty happy about it. Let me enter the moves just so you guys can see. I decided it was more accurate to move this off the square. I know it's protecting the H pawn, but I wanted it on the open file. I wanted to pressure him. Also, I saw that there were lines where if he actually goes back there, I can check him and then move back to make a wooden shield on on D5. So I thought that again there was a chance that he'd make a mistake, an error. I'm pretty sure he plays the best move here. He plays King E7. I go back with Bishop A4. I thought if he took, I was going to actually just Guadouche and just trade a pair of rooks to make this a very easy winning endgame. He plays B5, and this is clever because now if I take, he actually pins me, and even if I defend, he then can win the material back. I'd still be better, I think, but yeah. So I played the only move in the position, just so you guys can tell. Something like this, and I'm pretty sure that I would look. Yeah, white is still better in this position because my pawns are just such beasts. They're just beasts. You just go like D5, for example. Yeah, and then okay, sure, he wins the pawn, but it's not a big deal. This is just beastly. This is a passed pawn. Good to know that I could have even given up the bishop and been fine, but I didn't do that. I didn't give up the bishop because like, why would I want to give up my bishop? He plays rook c3. He's trying to just attack this, and here I'm kind of blitzing because these seem like obvious moves. Play bishop d5, and it's a wooden shield. It's very importantly protecting a2, because so if he ever gets it here, there's never like a mate or a perpetual. I just sit my king on a1, and I just use this open file. So yeah, so I felt pretty good about that. He plays rook h3. He's going after this pawn, maybe to try to like make a pass outside pawn. But I think it's kind of over. I set up what I think is a mate threat, rook c1. My idea is to check, and if he like comes down, checkmate. And if he comes over, I thought that there was a checkmate there. I'm actually curious. I thought that I was setting up a mate here. Okay, it's not a mate, but it's +6. I mean, position is, as you guys can tell, not in jeopardy. Again, sometimes in a lot of games, guys, you're like even if you're like +4, you're just like nervous, like, oh dear, am I gonna be able to win this one? Some positions are like that. This was not one of those positions. All right, rook c1. The computer literally likes my move. That makes me feel proud. He takes, which I honestly thought I had checkmate here. Play rook f7 check. He plays king d8. He's taking this away, which is the mate threat. Yeah, maybe if I'm supposed to play the bishop here, because then I'm actually setting that up. Yeah, I see that now. That sets up mate, so I actually messed up a little bit. But whatever. I mean, it's still just super winning. That seems like the line. I just then decide to start taking pawns, thinking that I could just bring it down. But then I'm like, oh wait, I don't actually want to do that because I don't want to get mated myself. Let's hold that back. Hold your horses is the classic expression. I play rook f1. Here I'm threatening checkmate on f8. He plays rook b2. This is like no problem because I go here again. This is a dominant bishop controlling the a2 square. This rook controls the bottom rank. So I have ultimate king safety. And he plays rook b to f. Yeah, and for the record, I'm threatening checkmate. I thought his only move was to move king e8, but instead he gives up the rook. We trade, and again, when this happens, yeah, I mean, it's just going to take longer to convert, but I will convert this one. I then decide that if I don't have the checkmates, I can just start taking all these pawns and I'll just win that way with this, pass pawn. Again, sometimes my technique is not perfect, but I thought it was like the practical decision. He pushes h4. I wonder if I can actually push this up, but I decided I didn't really want to. Okay, I played check thinking that maybe I could take this pawn with check, but he plays king c7. He's going to run to it. And then I say, screw it. Let's just take this pawn. I don't need to be greedy. I'm winning 7 ways to Sunday, I guess is the expression. He plays rook g2. I wonder if I can do a cutesy move like this, and then like that, and make a queen. Maybe I can. Maybe that's the best move, actually. I'm just curious. No, rook takes h4 is solidly winning. Or you can check him first and then do it. Okay, cool. And I just do that. I say, screw it. I take on h4. He takes on g5. Luke did not want to resign. You can't argue with him. You know, it is what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I check him, thinking that I'm going to tie him down to his pawn. Excuse me. Otherwise, I'll just clear the error. Oh, my throat a little bit. He plays king b6. He's kind of running for cover. I play king b2. I think it's time to centralize. And this is the spot, actually, that I was kind of joking. So he plays king g2. He plays rook g2 check, and I play king b3. And my first gut reaction is, oh, I can play king b4, and then look at that, I've got checkmate, okay? Or checkmate threat. And then I realize if I do that, he actually has a5 checkmate with a pawn. So I thought I was setting up. So I good news, I obviously saw that. I would have hated myself if I lost that way. But I realized because when he plays rook g3 check. Again, if I move here thinking that I'm the one getting the mating web, he plays a5 checkmate, and I realized this. So even though, I mean, he's got 40 minutes still, I'm down to 25 minutes, but, like, obviously that's, you know, you give me a minute, I'm going to win this position online, you know, online at least. In person, probably, too. So then I say, oh, whoopsies. And I say, okay, maybe the better plan is just, like, walk my king, get it safe, and then push the pawn. And I realize that's the 100% win way to do it. So I go back to b2, and he starts checking me. He checks. I go to c1. I decide, I realize I don't want to move up and let him take this with check. I want him to waste a move. I thought that was a little more accurate. So that's what I do. King d2. He plays check. Then I go king e1. He goes check. Then I play king f2. He can't check me. He plays rook d1. But this doesn't work because now I'm cover. So now I play king e3. And everything is just locked and I can just start pushing. He plays rook a1 to try to get this, take it with check. And I realize now, finally, after, you know, screwing around a lot, I can just push the pawn. I just play e5. I'm like, all right, like, you know, let's time to win this one. He takes my pawn with check. I play king e4. I'm protecting everything here, and I'm going to just make a queen. So we play out the string. E5 is on the board. He plays rook takes on e3. Wait, he plays rook takes on e3. That's not possible. Where are we? We're move 50. Okay, b4. He plays b4 here. All right, good. Almost done, and then, you know, time for dinner. Dinner time. He plays rook b. I play rook b7 check. Thinking that if he moves over, I can win this pawn. If he moves up, I would check him and then win the rook. I'm always defending this square with my bishop, and then I just, you know, make a queen. And again, very, very simple. Not trying to overthink this one. He plays king b6. No, that's not possible. Rook b7 check. I think king a6, I think. Yeah, because I took this pawn. You know, everything is Gucci. He plays rook a1. I play bishop c4 check. And again, this is just kind of like I literally am just kind of blitzing these moves, just trying to end the game. You know, so first game was a win. Awesome. You know, sometimes good stuff happens. King a5. I play rook b5 check. He plays king a4. In case it's not clear, I'm trying to get around to just clean up everything because like that's a very simple win. You know. Just for the record, if that's not clear. King a4, I play rook b7. That's exactly what's happening. He plays a5. His king is cut off. I play e6. Now I'm just making a queen. It's fully protected. He plays rook c1. I play king d5, protecting my piece, getting out of the way of these like checks and stuff. He plays king a3. I play e7. He plays rook e1. And I play bishop e5. I thought this was very clinical. I'm going to make the queen, trade it off, and I can even sack if I need to. Everything is just winning, you know. Again, maybe not the outstanding technique. He plays a4. I play e8 equals queen. He plays rook b1. I play queen e3 check. I do calculate here. I spend 5 minutes to find the checkmate. I do find it, which is good because he doesn't want to resign. He plays king b4, and I play bishop takes because the reason is he goes here, and it's just all over. It's just all over. That's all there is to it. What would happen is if he takes my bishop, I take his rook and I just ladder him. And if he does something like this, I can just checkmate him this way. So yeah, that's the game. So first one, I was pretty proud of myself. Let's add to game collection. Let's make this create new collection. This one is Pi Day Tournament, and let's add it here. Cool. Let's be thorough. Let's do the game review now. I thought I played a pretty good game one, to be honest. 85.6. Okay, maybe not the cleanest, I guess, but not bad. Not bad. 86. All right. Anytime a game is over 85%, I'm happy. I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'll do my other recaps later. All right. Thanks a lot. This one was quicker recap. 30 minutes though. All right. Peace out, everybody.